It's time to wander the world with Sharon. Enjoy this Big Blend radio podcast featuring award-winning travel writer and photographer Sharon K. Kurtz. Welcome, everybody. Today, we're wandering the world with Sharon, as always, every first Wednesday, and she's taking us to Glacier National Park, where she learned a new skill. Sharon now knows how to fly fish, not just any fishing, fly fishing, right? So how are you doing, Sharon?
I'm well, thank you, Lisa. Oh, it was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
Learning how
fun.
to fly fish.
Yeah, now you've been to Glacier Park before, or was this
No,
your
I've
first
been
time?
to many national parks, but that was the reason I wanted to do this. I found out about this trip to Glacier to learn how to fly fish. I wanted, number one, to go to Glacier. On my bucket list, I've heard raves about it, had never been, and I have never fished at all. So at my stage in life, a woman who's never fished of any sort, to learn to fly fish, that was like, I was all over it.
Well, that's interesting. Now, do you eat fish?
Yes,
It helps. Yeah, right?
yes, but not these fish. No, this was
Oh,
catch and release.
okay. Okay. So, but you get to learn about fish, right, by doing this.
Yes, I learned so much. It was a guided trip. So first we actually stayed in West Glacier. Do you know much about Glacier National Park?
Have not been there yet.
All right, so West Glacier is adjacent to the park. It is called the Gateway to Glacier National Park. It's only 30 minutes from Kalispell National Airport. It's easy to get to. And Pursuit Glacier Collection owns properties there, and they owned the Glacier Anglers guided fishing trips and float trips down the Flathead River. So we were invited to go check it out and learn to fly fish.
Wow. Okay. Because these are the same people you went and did your Canadian winter adventures, right?
Yes,
Within
in
Jasper.
Jasper National Park, they own properties there too. And we need to, I'm so frightened for Jasper National Park. It's on fire right now. They've had to
Oh.
evacuate. So it's very scary.
It's been a rough time for the West. And then, the hurricanes and everything. And we had to dodge barrel on a trip across the country, and it was in tornadoes. And luckily we were not in it. But it's we cannot deny that things are happening in our natural world, you
This
know?
is the truth. That is so
Yeah.
true.
Well, I think this is the thing too, when we go on these nature areas and we learn more about the natural environment, it shifts our perspectives and understanding a little bit more about how strong and mighty and sensitive at the same time in nature is, right? And so our role and about coexistence. Do you feel that when you go into these places and
I
like
do.
what you did in Glacier and starting to learn about fish and how it's important that they thrive, for
Oh,
the
yes.
water, for the animals, the ecosystem,
Yes.
with what they do.
Well, the Pursuit bought this property about 10 years ago with the glacier anglers and the whitewater rafting excursions. And we met with the general manager, and they take care of the earth. They care about the water. I've never seen such clear, beautiful water.
Mm.
And in fact, the guides, even they have what they call a weed rodeo. The guides go out every so often and they have t-shirts emblazoned with weed rodeo, and they go out on the river and they remove all the invasive species of plants that have been
Wow,
found there. So that's a
that's
weed
cool.
rodeo.
Hey, that's cool. A lot of people would think it'd be another thing, but I think that'll be our next month conversation when you go to
Yes.
Oakland, California. That's
Yes.
a whole other
Different
thing.
kind of weed rodeo.
Yeah, that is. But we'll talk about that soon. But the invasive species, it's so important because there's fish, there's mussels that have become invasive species too, lionfish, and this all affects our parks. Which, if the parks are not healthy, the humans and the local communities are not healthy either. So, and it's kind of vice versa. Like if the community is not doing well, healthy, and environmentally sound, our parks usually aren't either. So that's, why we do our Love Your Parks tours, to kind of connect those dots, and I think travel is crucial to really get to understand.
Yes. Well, as I said, West Glacier is adjacent to the park. It's just right at the gateway to the going to the Sun Road. Have you heard about that?
Oh, I've heard that, and you did it.
Uh, we
That's
got to
epic.
do that. So it was so early in the season, it was barely open. I think they had had a big storm the week before. There was still snow and ice. So we got in right as it was opening, and we went to this Trail of the Cedars right off of the going to the Sun Road, and had the most beautiful hike. Oh,
Oh,
it was gorgeous.
when you go to those mountains, it's kind of mind blowing, isn't it? It's just kind of like, whoa. I know you're based in the Texas Hill Country, but it's a little different when you go to places like Glacier, right? The mountains are
Yes.
real mountains. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And the lakes and the rushing rivers, it was a beautiful hike. So we really got to see Glacier Park as you want to see it. It was before tourist season, really. It was just starting. So it was a beautiful trip.
What time of year is that for folks to know? Because I always think to go in the shoulder seasons,
Yes,
especially in parks and these
it was,
iconic parks, would be a good
yes,
idea.
it was June, and it was early June. So it was just getting open and around. Like I said, they had just had snow and ice the week before. So, but living in Texas, it was already in the 90s, and it was like 40 degrees in the morning.
Wow.
It was just fabulous.
Wow. Wow. This is awesome. This is awesome. But 40 degrees is a little cold for me, but it warms up during the day. This is
Oh
like
yes, it does.
wear layered clothes, right? When you
Wear
go,
layers. That's exactly
yeah,
right.
wear layers. But so getting out on the boat, okay, so number one, the water's cold. You do not think that it looks beautiful and you want to dive in, but it's cold.
Well, I went with 5 other travel writers, and of the 5 of us, only one had went fly fishing with her dad once, like 20 years before. So we were all newbies. And what was fun was our first half a day, we had an introduction to fly fishing. It was on dry ground. We learned how to tie knots, tie the fly onto the rod. We learned how to assemble the rod, and they opened up their little boxes. There must have been 300 flies in this box. That's the guides are just, they're fly nerds. They know, and they're called flies because they want to know what that fish is going to want to eat in any season of the year, any week of the year. And they're all different. So they know the right fly for the right day
Wow. Wow.
to catch the right kind of fish. So we learned all about flies. And then on the lawn, we got our first casting lesson. And that was a trip, having 6 of us all lined up over an open field so we couldn't like get our lines entangled with one another, spread far apart. And we learned the way to fly fish. You go like from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock, and you go back and then you toss it. But it's not a big movement, but they're very subtle movements. And people might think that you just, haul it, but no, it's a very controlled movement. And we learned how to cast and how to place the fly. And then we went to the ponds nearby that are stocked with fish, and they're stocked with little bitty fish. And I did not catch one on the pond, which didn't bode well for me. I was afraid. I was like, well, I just don't have the knack. But casting your line in a little pond is much different than casting it on the river.
Okay. And you did catch one on the river.
Yes, I caught a steelhead trout. That's the one you want to catch. They had non-invasive whitefish in the river, and those are not, that's not the perfect fish that you want to say that you caught. But I caught a real steelhead trout. And it was on the small side. I won't tell you that it was the biggest fish. I won't be like, tell you a fish story like it was this big.
Yeah.
But our guide, we had a woman guide in our boat. So they're inflatable rafts because the Flathead River has rapids on it. And the Glacier Anglers are only one of 4 outfitters that can even take guests on the river. And you have to be a whitewater rafting guide first before you can ever be a fishing guide.
Oh,
Because
that's smart.
you have to do both. You have to navigate the rapids and take your clients to the fishing holes.
That's, I like that because it makes you understand everything. It's like a full education. And when you go out with a guide, you want to know someone knows what's going on if
Yes.
go overboard or whatever. So when you're fishing, are you fishing from the boat or are you getting in with those big waders that, you see? Remember the
No.
movie River Runs Through It, I think it's called?
Yes.
And
Actually, they filmed that movie on this river.
oh, wow. Cool.
Yes. And it's so, if you ever go back and watch that movie, you see the scenes of Brad Pitt, that handsome young man, casting in that beautiful river, and we were right there.
I feel
So
like I have to rewatch this now.
it was just beautiful. But we had, so we had 3 inflatable rafts, and there's 2 chairs, one in the front and one in the aft. And then the guide sits on a bench in the middle, and she has oars. And she's the one who helps you know. She said, cast your line over there, because you want water that's fast moving, and uh, she'll show you the little areas where the fish were likely to be. And so you're floating the whole time. It's not so easy. There's an art to fly fishing. So it
This
is
is cool
pretty
though.
amazing that I caught a fish, because the first thing she taught us was you have to watch that fly. So you have it, it's called a dry dropper. So our fly was white and like a feathery, and that's what you needed to catch fish on that week. And then there's a line underneath it with another like a worm, a fake worm on it. So there's 2 opportunities for that fish to strike your line, either on the surface where it will go like this, and you have to pull up and catch it in the mouth. You don't hurt it, and they let it go, but that's how you catch it and reel it in. Or it's going to go to your bottom one. So you have to watch for the subtle little bobbing, and it's hard to see. I must have missed, I don't know, 50 fish, because I didn't know what that subtle movement meant. I didn't know there was a fish there waiting to catch, for me to catch.
Oh, see, they're going, come on, I'm ringing the dinner bell.
Yeah. It's
Oh, wow.
really hard, but it is fun. But half of the time I was just watching the scenery. It is so beautiful. The water is gorgeous. It's crystal clear, and you can see the river rocks on the bottom, just
Oh,
listening
that's
with the
beautiful.
sun. We saw a mountain goats along the side.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
they
that's
were
awesome.
going up a steep incline, and they were actually licking the salt off the rocks.
Oh, cool. That
Um,
is on my bucket list to see one of them. I've
it
never
was
seen them in the wild, and I will just, I want to see one so bad. Ah, you
So
got to
we
see
had
them in Jasper.
yes, we did. We
Mm.
had a woman guide, Stacy Rains is her name. She used to be she's from Tennessee. She was a park ranger for 7 years, then a river rafting guide, and then a fly fishing guide.
Wow.
And I asked her, who makes the better fishermen, women or men? And she said,
Yeah.
women are the better fishermen. I said, really? She said, yes, because they listen and they follow instructions.
Just saying, huh?
Just saying, just saying.
Just
And
saying.
most of us were women. We had one guy with us, and one of the young ladies, she was from Canada. Oh, she told us that she was lucky fishing, and she certainly was. I think she got 6 fish. But even if you don't
That's it.
catch fish, it is just a beautiful day.
I just like to go out on the boat, you
Yeah,
know. But I think it's cool that you went and did something, you wanted to learn something new. And I think it's great that your instructor was a woman, you
I
know,
do too.
because yeah, and this again, we're going to have to share this also on our Women Making History podcast because we
Yes,
love that, showing that
exactly
women can
right.
do things. Yes, we can,
Well,
you
that's
know.
one reason why I wanted to go on this trip. As we get older, we have so many opportunities in life, and you think, oh, I don't have time, that doesn't work out, I'm going to do that next year. And there comes a time when you just have to go for
Do
it.
it. I
Yeah,
agree.
don't
I
put
agree.
things off.
No, no, because your day can come anytime. So many people plan on their travels at the end of life, when we retire. Well, sometimes our bodies have a different plan,
Yeah.
or life has a different plan. And I'm one of those, I think I was just raised that way to just, do it, do it, do it now, go for it.
No.
And don't wait for things to be perfect either, because that is
And
a waste of time.
and get out of your comfort zone. Am I a
Mm,
fisherman? Heck no, but it was fun. And I learned about this beautiful art. And it was kind of meditative. It
yeah,
was
it's in.
it was casting and the motion and the beauty, and it was
Mm.
quiet.
Oh,
And
I wanted to ask that because in with fishing, and I've been with friends who fish and all kinds of experiences. I think I tried once, but I mean, we're allergic to fish, and I just like to look at them. So, anything fish or seafood is a no-no. We die. We don't want to die.
no,
But the from what I have understood, like a lot of guys, like there's a park in Tucson where there's benches named after people that have been fishing there for years. Families, people get together. It's like a memory thing. It's part of their lifestyle. And you go to Louisiana and you'll see, people catfishing off the riverways and stuff like that, and the waterways all over. And when I was thinking about this, about the quiet time, even though sometimes guys go fishing together, yes, there may be beer involved and whatever, isn't there like a quiet time? Like the louder you are, the more you can scare fish away. Did they bring any of that up, or does it matter? Like, I didn't know if that part, because I'm thinking about friends fishing, and some were like it's all about being quiet with the moment, the
yes.
zen, the nature, but then some weren't that quiet. So I'm wondering if that affects it.
Well, in our situation with this rafting guide company, the rafts are just for 3 people, the guide who's rowing and 2 anglers. And there's no music, there's no loud boom boxes. It's
Yeah,
quiet. And
that's
then,
nice.
but we did, they provided a lunch for us because it was an all day. And we went to the side and all got out and ate our sack lunches, but not me, but several of them actually got in that ice cold water. They had their swimming suits under their clothes. They stripped down and jumped in the water.
Oh, polar
I,
bear.
yeah, I admired them. You go for it, ladies, but
You're going like, I've already done my comfort zone. Get out of my comfort zone. I went fishing. That's enough.
yes.
I did that in Sequoia National Park, and we went hiking. It was spring to this Tokapa. I think it was a trail, and they have these waterfalls, and you're going through like Marble Canyon almost. It's like really white rocks. When the sun hit, it just heated up, and it's definitely a park in the spring that you want to wear layers because you're way on up there, right? And it was a beautiful hike, but we were heating up. I mean, even though we went through some areas of forest and we got to the waterfalls, and it wasn't a heavy winter season, so not as much water as usual, but gorgeous. Went back down, and the river was beautiful. Nancy and I had our little, shh, don't tell anybody, our little champagne picnic,
Cool.
you know, all quiet in there. And I'm like, I had to take my shoes off. I'm like, I want my feet in that water. Oh no, you do not. It is pure ice melt. And when we talk about ice melt, we mean ice melt. It is cold. I was
Mm.
like, no, I won't be doing that again. It's almost like a dare. And I saw this guy take his girlfriend across the river because they wanted to do a little quick walkthrough. He almost died. Like not died, but he's like, you have no idea. They thought, oh, it'll be fun because the same as me. We're all hot and sweaty from this hike. Went to go across because she's like, I'm not getting in there. He's like, I'm the manly man. She's holding his hiking. He was like, do not do it. He was freezing.
Oh
So
my gosh.
so I admire those that jumped in. That's pretty
The
hardcore.
water was very cold, and the water is so crystal clear, you can actually see the fish swimming.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Now, that's what I heard from the guides. The key is you watch very carefully for the fish. You go to the fishing hole and you place your fly right there ever so gently, and you can actually see them come up and grab your fly. That did not happen to me. My fish grabbed the bottom hook, and I could tell there was some resistance, and I pulled back. And you have to be careful because you can get so excited that literally you can like pull them out of the ground and they can fly in the air and go behind the
Yeah.
boat if you're not careful. But you have to reel them in so carefully. But the guides are experienced. They catch them in the net, and you're not really allowed to touch them because they have like a film on their bodies, and you don't want to touch them with your fingertips. You want those fish to live another day, to, you can admire them, and then they just gently release them back in the water.
Very cool. So tell us about your lodgings, because you got to stay cabin style, right? But like beautiful.
Well,
we're not talking like the old outpost kind of.
This was the most beautiful. We were very lucky. Our host had us. They have several accommodations in West Glacier Village, is what it's called, and where we stayed, it's called Paddle Ridge. It's by Pursuit. You'll have it in the show notes but our cabin was called the Glacier View Cabin. It was the most gorgeous, big cabin with 4 big bedrooms, all en-suite bathrooms. And one of the bedrooms, 2 bedrooms had like, I don't know, 6 or 8 beds in it for kids and bunk beds. So it's more like multi-generational family get-togethers.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I love that,
But it was beautiful.
Yeah, see, that's a way when we say don't wait, that's a way I think in travel is for everyone to get together. It's great for grandparents and for grandkids, and everybody does something. There's going to be something for everyone in a kind of property like that, all ages. And then they can share making memories, not just, it's so different when you have these kinds of experiences as a family to bond, very cool.
So Pursuit has, they're in the West Glacier Village. There's a pizza place, there's a beer garden, there's mini golf, there's a convenience store, like a sundry store for anything you're going to need while you're there. So it's kind of everything you need for a multi-day trip, and then
you had me at pizza and beer
from there. Yeah, what more do you need?
Yeah, it sounds like a great time. And you got into Glacier National Park.
Yes.
And an epic experience, got on the water, you learned something new.
Yeah.
How many days were you there? It was only 3 days, right?
3 nights. 3 nights.
Would you go back?
Yes. We only got to go into the park 1 day. From the terrace, the porch of our beautiful accommodation, you have the most gorgeous view of the mountains. And I wanted to spend more days going into the mountains, but next time this time was all about fly fishing and our one beautiful hike, but there's so much more to see.
Awesome. Well, everyone, there's a link in the episode notes to Sharon's article, which is up on nationalparktraveling.com. So you can check that out. And of course, keep up with Sharon at SharonKKurtz.com. And also you can go to the website just for the premiere, Pursuit Collection. Go to glacierparkcollection.com and you can see everywhere Sharon's talking about. So thank you so much, Sharon. I can't wait for next month. We're going to hear about the weed rodeo of Oakland.
Yeah, a different kind of weed rodeo.
Yep.
Thank you, Lisa. It was fun.
Thanks for joining us here on Big Blend Radio's Wonder the World with Sharon podcast. You can keep up with Sharon's adventures at SharonKKurtz.com. Follow Big Blend Radio at BigBlendRadio.com. Happy travels.